Yemo bibia kwaba na yemfambra Mega TV and platform we eso Kofi Tonto aye aid edima Dr. Alhaji Bawumia Samsona Owura yefre no Solomon Owusu aye Director of Communications edima UP United Party Alan Kwadwo Chidamantin the party no Samsona maami yefre no Beatrice Annan aye NDC communicator osanso aye presidential staffer ewo Jubilee House na in fact sole sourcing and as a single sourcing who issue ya aba ewo big push contract in fact eno enam so enama Kofi Tonto any gifty Annan Beatrice Annan a crash on that debate. In fact they be make us NPP for the ade omu aye twam no aya no mu fili sa NDC for so baby enti omu asase no mu ma ho allegations and omu bojandam. Meanwhile no they have no evidence to that. Yanko na yanko ti nsem no ebi ewo TV3 Alfred Okansi patro debi we Roland Walker the show a new day no eso. In fact na ye very educative esanso a hit papa o he the one Owura Solomon Owusu ni nsi abedie na o expose Kofi Tonto. It tells you say ampa MPP for I was so much in opposition che because MPP a political party as a brusi benyado omum pegana ye enka eniemo omuye no okurum ha no anye ni but we dey yenkotie conversation bi yakoba ade aka bia no ye beto aso e platform we eso yakopon hira onka yenti enkomo ni bi
because the Lincoln University must be told in the face that not today, tomorrow, or in perpetuity are we going to allow Trumu in this country.
Well, but they said that, you know, we have lobbies and...
Who are the lobbies?
The international community really also frowns on governments and individuals who tend to hold very strong positions on the side.
That is our position. Even in the States, even in the US, how many of the states allow that? Because of that, so you are going to link an honorary degree to our local politics. What is that degree going to do to this country?
Honorary or PhD?
PhD. Oh my goodness. Well, when the president comes, you organize one for him. After all, there is a Lincoln University at the Kokomlemu area. They can also give some all over the places. What are we talking about?
Anyway, so let's hear from the minority, led by Kennedy Osei-Nyarko, and then subsequently the road minister also in tow on the subject.
Believe that government must, as a matter of urgency, should publish the full details of this contract. This should include the identities of the contractors, the specific scope of work assigned to each contractor, and the unit cost per kilometer. This will give Ghanaians the opportunity to independently assess the policy and promote transparency in infrastructure delivery.
But the road
sole sourcing even is acceptable if in situations where there is the need to extend the implementation of works which were previously competitively procured to speed up completion. It will therefore be mischievous for any right-thinking member of society to conclude that the Ministry of Road and Highways only procures work through sole sourcing.
And Beatrice, the accusation is that in opposition you said no sole sourcing in government is being undertaken. What's the response to that? And I'm sure you've been measuring the public reactions to that as well.
We have been measuring, and I should say that this discussion, we need to premise it from the work of the Fourth Estate. This was a supposedly some breaking news.
Investigative.
Yes. No, I don't think they said investigative. And you see, for me, I want to commend the Fourth Estate because I like people who are consistent. There was a time in this country when journalists couldn't speak up. A lot of people were afraid for their lives. People practically could not talk about scandals. And the Fourth Estate then emerged And to their credit, you had the NSS scandal, but for them, we wouldn't know that CEOs were buying $170,000 watches. And so we credit them. The SML deal was uncovered by the Fourth Estate. And so we credit them with these things. But it's important to say that in the story as published by the Fourth Estate, they are not alleging corruption on the part of government. That point is very instructive to make. I've read, and I have here with me the release by the Fourth Estate. Nowhere in the 11-page story are they alleging corruption or any wrongdoing on the part of government. In fact, to the credit of the NPP, they are also not alleging corruption. Or, as at yesterday, I don't know whether this morning Kofi Tonto will make those allegations, but as at yesterday, listening to the minority and members of the NPP, nobody has alleged that government has done anything wrong. What the NPP and many people are saying is that the NDC spoke against sole sourcing. And so why have you come to use that method in your procurement? I think that is the point. And I want to start this discussion on that premise so that we are all on the same page and we don't muddy the waters as if some corruption or some scandal has been discovered. That is not the case. Now, the NDC did not just say that single sourcing as a form of procurement was bad. If it was bad in the past, it is bad now. We cannot all of a sudden change our position. We are a political party with principles. We are led by a president who has consistently demonstrated that he has the ability to stomach dissenting opinion. What was the NDC's position when we were in power? And I've seen yesterday on
there are videos of
in fact,
the current president in opposition,
own video
as well as
has come out,
snipers of the NDC manifesto.
Yes, yes. So what was the NDC's position? The NDC's position is that single source contracts linked to persons who are close to power are contracts which raises the basis to ask questions and say that this contract may be fraught with corruption. That position has not changed. The NDC's position is that single source contracts, which are inflated above the market's value, are things that we need to question. And I have here with me a press conference addressed by Sami Jenfi on August 2024 on the issue of single source contracts. In paragraph 18 of the said press conference, this is the NDC's position. Indeed, paragraph 65 of the performance audit report by the Auditor General on the construction of cocoa roads revealed that Cocoa Board did not rigorously analyze its procurement options for value for money, but sought approval from PPA for single sourcing and restricted tendering, thus procuring the contracts which were 3 times more expensive than it could have been obtained through competitive tendering. This was the position of the NDC.
That's the position?
Yes.
You listen and watch this, the inserts that are emerging now.
So we are saying that.
It says the NDC is against
when you
sole source contract.
When you resort to single source as your major means of procurement, there is no evidence for value for money. So that was one position we made, and we should not, we will not be seen to be changing it. In the Fourth Estate, what they call expose, which is not an expose really, they never alleged that the market value of these contracts were above the contract sum awarded. In fact, the NPP has not made that argument as well. So the NDC's position has not changed. Now, it is true that the NDC, while in power, called out the NPP for single source contracts. What were some of the things we called them out on? It was the ambulance spare part contract, which was awarded to persons close to the president's daughter then. And we said at the time when the company had not Resource Access Limited, close or associated with the brother of the vice president, that position cannot change merely because we are in power. Again, The cocoa roads, which I have told you that the Auditor General, then appointed by Nanado himself, said that Cocoa Board did not do a rigorous examination. We are not talking about the same things. If you are saying, and I mean, this is a conversation that we can be having within the bigger context and say that we think that you should have used it. But let me show you why the government sought to use single source contracts for these things. One, the big push is a special project, not like what the NPP will question construction of year of roads. The big push is not a government that merely wants to construct roads. The big push is a policy decision of this government to expand this country into what we call 12 economic zones.
12 economic zones?
12 economic zones. So they are not merely roads being constructed in just communities. They are roads being constructed to link regional capitals to one another for the purposes of boosting agriculture. We have been in this country, and for the longest time, we have been saying that food is being imported. Tomato, yesterday or this week, we were discussing the Burkina Faso issues. Why? One of the major issues are the road networks from our farm gates to the market. And so the big push is a policy position that the government took and said that let's link these 12 areas that we have classified as economic zones together. Now, if we were to go through competitive tendering, it would take approximately between 12 to 18 months to even get a contract awarded. In fact, to evidence this assertion, if you recall, the NDC in the 2025 budget said that we were going to restore road toll. Do you know that the system is going through a competitive tendering?
Still?
And for 7 months.
Because that has delay.
Yes, for 7 months. It's going through the processes. Yesterday, I had the minority holding a press conference on it and saying that, for 1 year, we haven't heard of anything on the road toll. Because for 7 months, it's been going through competitive tendering. And that is why we haven't been able to award the contract. Now, this is the issue. We must begin to ask that when we zone these areas, what was the aim? The aim of the president is that within a space of 18 to 24 months, Ghanaians should have some tangible roads. And so we needed to do that, one, by empowering local contractors. How many times have we not spoken about everything in this country being owned by foreigners? How many times have we not said that foreigners do not, have practically hijacked our country? Just last month, there was a discussion on China Mall and other
special
people
to make sure that you empower local contractors?
Local companies. So unless the argument is that there is some wrongdoing somewhere, that there is some act of corruption, that these contractors are somehow linked to the families of these people, then I think that we ought to elevate the discussion a bit. Now, it's important to also say that beyond even empowering the local contractors, you will recall that when the NDC came into power, in fact, less than a month after the NDC came into power, many communities went on rampage saying that their road networks were bad. I will give you the example of Pokwase-Masaman Road, which the NPP started. People were on the neck of this government and said, we want it finished. Do you think that if we were going through competitive tendering, that contract could have been novated and renegotiated for work to progress?
That's by Maripoma.
Yes, for work to progress the way it's progressing. And so while we hear the feedback, we in the NDC will not take the posturing of the NPP. That anytime people raise issues in your government, you just rubbish them. No. We understand that as a government, we have an obligation to bring the facts to the people. We understand that as a government, when people ask legitimate questions, and rightly so, they owe it, we owe it a duty to them to respond to these things. And that's exactly what we are doing. Now, having even said that, you know that when you take our friends on the other side, they say, and you play the video of the minority, they say, oh, the NDC in the past, even if you were not opposed to the single source, you said that they were so opaque. What we have done is that we have learned from our checkered history of how the NPP governed this country. And collectively, as a party and as a government, we have vowed never to go the route of the NPP. So what did we do? This contract or this expose that we are discussing, Roland, it was not a discovery made by the Fourth Estate, by some investigative piece. What happened? The Fourth Estate wrote to the Ministry of Roads and Highway and the Ghana Highway Authority, pursuant to the Right to Information Act. And they were supplied these information.
So this is public info?
This is public information.
But they have a right to question it.
And rightly so, they have a right to question. I mean, nobody should take away their right. And I want to say even here, that even after this publication, I can assure you that Sule Brame's life will not be threatened. He doesn't have to go to South Africa like Manasseh did in the past. His family doesn't have to live in fear like the families of Ahmed Swale. We are here to engage, to listen to different perspectives. We are here, and I would wish that if there are, anything that he wants to draw government's attention to in these contracts, we are welcoming. But let me say that 23, do you know 23? The
figure 23?
Yeah, 23. Out of the 54 lots of contracts awarded, that is under discussion. These contracts were awarded by single source under the previous NPP administration.
23?
23 out of the 54. And the NDC is not on record anywhere to have opposed this. I can give you a classical example of the Swame interchange. In fact, the Parliamentary Hansard says that the NDC then, led by the ranking on roads, who is currently the roads minister, supported that. So let's not mix the issue merely because we called out government for their corrupt acts, which were shrouded in single source contracts. We should not come to the conclusion that, the NDC said all single source contracts were wrong.
And as you have a minute to wrap up, what about the question that they've been posing over the last 24 hours? That it smacks of hypocrisy, the position of you, government, and the NDC entirely, as well as its assigns, that, well, the NPP under Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo and Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia undertook key projects as well and through single source contracting, pursuant to Section 40 of the PPA Act, but was criticized, of course, you say genuinely, but also they also say unfairly by you in opposition.
You see, that's what I'm saying, that let's not mix the issue. That merely because people criticize corrupt acts, shrouded in single source contracts, you have to lump the issue. I've given you a number of examples. That is the ambulance issue. The National Cathedral, where David Ajayi is a close associate of Gabi. Single source, the rehabilitation of the Sunyani Airport, and all that. One teacher, one laptop, and all those things, which later we were vindicated. So I'm not saying that people should not criticize government. By all means, criticize government. And I can tell you that I'm proud to speak for a president that says and calls on civil society and say, criticize us. For we see those things as feedback to better governance. But having said that, this was not shrouded in opacity. I think that the MP who spoke, Osenyako, I'm told he's the MP for
Kennedy.
I think he has to get his research assistants to get to work for him.
No, he can't say. He's been a long-standing member of Parliament, respectfully.
No, there's nothing disrespectful about this. He has to get his because...
What's your point?
At the time of holding the press conference and saying that government should make the details of these contracts available, these contracts were already on the website of the Ministry of Roads and Highways. So a simple Google search would have shown it. Let me conclude and wrap up my first round of submission before I rebut by saying that the NDC is committed to bringing some new standards in governance. The NDC would not see criticisms and feedback as something that people merely want as bad. The citizens want road. They are in a hurry. Indeed, people have the right to legitimately ask whether this is the method, however legal it is for you to procure this. But in the absence of corruption, in the absence of anything to show that the value of the contract is inflated, I think that what we should be doing is to commend His Excellency the President for this vision. That for a long time, somebody says that let's zone our country into 12 economic zones. And within a record time of 24 months, let's try and build as much roads as we can. In the absence of corruption, I think that we ought to salute President Mahama. Of course, in our quest to build our nation, but are these not the guys?
Please wrap up.
I'm wrapping up.
10 minutes. Your time is up.
Are these not the guys who told us that they don't chew roads? And that the Circle Dubai roads were inflated? That whole airport was inflated, that it was not so material to build UGMC, that all the hospitals that we were building were nothing, and later the president became vindicated. I think, just like Kwame Nkrumah, there is one consistent script. But what I can assure the people of Ghana, that this government in 1 year, 3 months, have not recorded a single scandal. It is not by chance. It shows you a leader who is intentional, a leader who is committed to doing the right thing, a leader whose quest to develop the road networks of this country should not be compromised. And that is noteworthy. And I think that everybody would agree with me. I know even Kofi Tonto will agree with me.
I'm not sure it's a position you hold. Kofi Tonto, your reaction to this? Because the minority in their press conference also poignantly did say that there need to be restoration of the roads, and then also there has to be perhaps also a proper audit of the contracts and clearly publication, which already has been done as well.
You know, very quickly, Beatrice, you come from a political party which has become experts in forcing media houses to delete stories. Day in and day out, media houses are deleting stories. So don't even talk about the space for journalists to operate in. Journalists went to a region to cover Galamsey. They had to take their shoes off and run. So please don't even go there. But that's a subject we'll discuss another time. Look, Roland, we are dealing with a group of hypocrites, political swindlers, and I dare say scammers. Why? This group of people, which Beatrice belonged to, told us that, for example, how can a war 7,000 kilometers away affect Ghana? Then today, they are telling us that a war in Iran can affect Ghana. This group of people told us that the country is not in the position to procure a presidential jet. Today, her boss wrote a piece justifying why we need to procure a presidential jet, not in 4 years, by November. I am trying to paint a picture of a group of people who on one breath say one thing, and another breath, the very things they criticize, they do. Why? Was it just not last week where your own colleague, Standogbe, was given contract by a government agency? And you sit here and pontificate and create the impression, this holier than thou impression, that somebody is corrupt and they are giving contract to their friends. What haven't you done? Just last week, several contracts, not one, several. Why? You made commentary. You took positions. One, the president himself said, we need to be in a position where single source procurement become the rare exception. And said that in your manifesto, the reset manifesto, we are going to put it in the reset manifesto that single source procurement will be cut out. The word he used was cut out Or see a big term. He was on Onia TV. Then the president again said that we don't get value for money when we emphasize on sole sourcing, because it creates the opportunity for people to inflate. Then the gentleman who's the roads minister now, Kwame Abuja, June 18th, 2021, he held a press conference and said the reason why we are not able to construct our roads is because of single source. Because single source procurement have the potential to inflate contracts. And in fact, cited several examples how contracts have been inflated. Then your other boss, Sami Jenfi, said, single source contracting is the avenue for people to steal because they inflate contracts. And President Akufo-Addo and his Ofori-Penyimfie, he went as far as denigrating a whole traditional area. I hope you are listening. He denigrated Ofori-Penyimfie, said Ofori-Penyimfie are part of the single source corruption. And you sit here and say, what, Beatrice? And say, what? Now you have found your moral scruples and want to lecture us? You want to lecture us about the things you said? The point was that you said single source procurement have the potential to increase prices and inflate prices. That they form the bedrock for corruption. So nobody has to even use the word corruption. Look, Fourth Estate, when they did this whole expose or whatever you call it, they didn't just do it because Beatrice is a nice woman. They did it to highlight the fact that the very ills you pronounced, that single sourcing can increase and inflate contracts, the very thing are occurring. I'll give you an example. At our time, feeder road, a kilometer of feeder road was $550,000 US. As I speak to you today, and I have two contracts here, Roland, that I will show you. One contract, a kilometer of road is going to cost the good people of this republic a kilometer of feeder road, emphasis on feeder road, the roads that we build in the rural areas. A kilometer of the same feeder road that cost us $550,000 is going to cost us $1.2 million. A kilometer of feeder road.
Is this something that runs through, or I haven't interjected so that you say that I'm interrupting you? So, but what I do know, the little knowledge I know is that depending on the topography of the area, look, and this one you're alluding to specific contracts.
I'm giving you specific contracts, and I can even name the contractors and all of that. I have all of it.
So I'm asking, please, for their reputation. That's all right.
No problem. I don't have to. Okay. No, so the point is, I get the argument of topography. Sometimes we'll do covert, we'll do this. So I get that.
You look at the base, the material for the base will be different.
I get all of that.
So I'm saying that, are you saying this one runs through all?
I'm saying that, in fact, some of them are even
swampy areas.
Roland, some of them are even higher. I have a tract here, 600 million Ghana cedis for 23 kilometers of feeder roads. That is running about $2 million United States dollars a kilometer.
Again, why? The area we have to take
why? The previous ones that we did, they were not on the same area. They didn't have the same differences in area. But we average 550,000. They are averaging $1.2 million. In some instances, $2.2 million. Why? And then the most ridiculous and absurd argument is that we have only given 44% of contracts in sole sources. The president used a word. He said rare. Does 44 represent rare to you? Beatrice, 44, does it represent rare to you when we say the word rare? Does 44 mean rare? Rare means sometimes less than 1%. You have done, you claim, which is not even true because I have all the contracts here. 50 contracts at a cost of 51 billion Ghana cedis are to forcing signed for 3 years, 2025, 2026, 2027, under big push. All the 50 contracts are to forcing gave commitment to. all of them, every single one of them was sole sourcing. So that 51 billion, which is equivalent to $5 million, which is equivalent to 5% of our GDP, the entire country's GDP, was given under sole sourcing. I'm coming. Is that rare to you?
Kofi Tonto.
Is 5% of our GDP rare to you?
These are verifiable information.
I have it here. I have everything here.
So
I have everything
so some of
here.
the contracts, according to the Ghana Highway Authority, were given out on restrictive tender.
Okay.
Do you equate that to sole sourcing as well?
No, I am talking about the ones I have seen. First of all.
Okay, so you don't say
first of all, nobody has said all. I gave you specific 50 contracts. I said all the 50 contracts that Atoforsen signed under the 51 billion Ghana cedis were all sole source. That's the one I said. I've not said all.
Because the Ghana Highway Authority say that some of them were given out.
If you want, I'll give you the document to read. Here is the document where it uses the word single source and lists all the 50 contracts. This is the procurement document. Then I have the document where the finance ministry also issued out, spelling out the commitment. That is also 50 contracts, all single source. That is the point I am making. But that doesn't mean those are the only roads that the ministry is doing. But let's even say 50 billion or 44% as they want us to believe. Nearly 50% of contracts you have given are sole source, and you want to tell us it is rare? You guys have no shame. You have swindled the country. You have lied to the country. And now you want to tell us that roads are emergency. Is that what you are saying? That we need roads, we have to construct. The time that we were constructing cocoa roads, were they not emergency? Were they not needed? But Sami Jemfi sat on TV and said, cocoa roads, we have given all of them 87% under sole sourcing. When did we reclassify the importance of road in this country? That all of a sudden you come into government. By the way, at the time you were making the promises, you didn't know you were going to initiate the big push. At the time Okujeto was telling us that in their reset manifesto, they are going to cut out sole sourcing. You didn't know that you were going to do the big push. Was the big push not in the same manifesto? What are you talking about? You have swindled the people. You have lied to the people. You are a bunch of hypocrites. The fact is that you are stealing money through sole sourcing. You are making people rich, your party people. And you are telling us that you think we don't know the people behind it. We are going to serialize all the contractors and those behind the contract. I'm telling you. By next week, Ghanaians will know every contract. Your party chairman who have taken contract. We are going to serialize everything. You think we don't know? We are not kids. But if nothing at all, Standogwe stands as the true test of this government doing family and kontafuane in our friends. Standogwe stands as the true test. And he has the effrontery to sit on social media and tell people that he also has a company. So must he collapse his company if his government is in power? He will continue to get contracts. So please, let your yes be your yes and your no be your no. You promise Ghanaians a single thing, that you are going to make sole sourcing a rare phenomenon. As it stands, it has become the main phenomenon. And lastly, your minority leader, Mahama Yariga, sat in parliament. In fact, he stood in parliament. Majority leader, sorry.
At the time he was minority?
No, majority leader recently. Stood in parliament and said, so this is the end, or this is the end, or this is going to be the death of the sole sourcing era. This is what he said in parliament. That sole sourcing, the era of sole sourcing is coming to an end. It is dead. But guess what? Not only have they resurrected sole sourcing, they are feeding sole sourcing fat. Not only have they resurrected sole sourcing, they have butchered competitive bidding. Completely butchered it. They are not interested in it. everything is either sole sourcing or restrictive tendering. This has become their mantra, and this has become their go-to. A group of corrupt, incompetent, reckless, swindlers, scammers. I mean, these are the people who came on the back of holiness. Please, so spare us. Thank you very much.
On that note of the vote of thanks, Solo, what do you make of it? You've been watching. Why are you?
What can I say? You see?
And I'm sure over the last 24 hours, you've been monitoring the media airways as well as what the public commentary have been. And then the responses to the minority and then also the fourth estate, which has begun by the roads minister.
The good thing is that the United Party is an opposition party. We are fighting and working so hard to also attract a lot of votes. I dare say that anytime the NPP speaks, it advantages the United Party.
So you can make those conclusions. Why?
I'm so happy. I will still encourage them to be speaking more, to be conducting a lot of these press conferences so that it inures to the benefit of the United Party. Why do I say so? I couldn't believe it. That's why I was laughing. That my brother Tonto will be the one to be doing this.
Why can't he be?
Why should he be the one doing this? That he left.
Not a description of the NDC?
One fine Tuesday morning, at exactly 9:58 a.m., it was in August. It was in August 2016. I woke up about to brush my teeth, and I saw President Kofi post on his wall. There will be no sole sourcing.
August 2016?
August 2016, 9:58 a.m. in the morning, very early, sharp.
Tuesday?
It was a Tuesday, a beautiful Tuesday. Then the president, the then candidate Kofi assured all of us.
He posted this?
He posted it on his wall.
Where's the post?
Oh, you see?
I have it here.
You also have it there?
Yes, that's it.
Oh, sometimes Kofi too has it.
Please.
I can send it to you if you don't have it. I'll send it to you.
You have my number.
Oh, I have. I'll send
Please,
it to you.
please, not to truncate Solo.
Then the then candidate assured all of us that there will be no sourcing.
Nana Akufo-Addo.
Nana Akufo-Addo. He came to power, and between 2017 to 2024, almost 100% of his contracts went through sole sourcing.
No, I don't understand.
I thought Kofi was going to debunk that assertion, that when we were in power, we never gave any contract under sole sourcing, or majority of our contracts were not under sole sourcing. Then we will be discussing or putting the matters in the right perspective. But what he has done this morning is to draw all of us into the political arena to be reminding ourselves of what has taken place. Look, I am not a fan of sole sourcing.
You don't like sole sourcing?
Because it has its own risks. So I don't have any problem with people that questions the idea of sole sourcing. However, the impression that I gathered from the whole business of expose by the fourth estate was some scandal that has happened at the Rose Ministry. So I was very curious. Honestly, I was waiting with bated breath to know what really has happened. So the scandal, because that was what they told us. And the prelude was being shared by members of the New Patriotic Party.
We call it promo.
Promo. So I don't know whether there was a chemistry between the Fourth Estate organization and the New Patriotic Party.
You cannot make those
because they were the ones sharing.
The media organization,
yes,
respectfully, we also have to accord them that.
No, I accord it. That's why I said I don't have any problem with the Fourth Estate. They were doing their job. The only thing that has tainted that job is that it was as though they were doing it in cahoot with the New Patriotic Party. Because when they brought it, and mind you, the picture they associated with their promo was Abuja and the president. So clearly, it was a teaser to let us know that something hot was on the mountain. Now, this morning, we have been told by Kofi Tonto that in the coming days, they are going to serialize all the contractors that are behind the big push. Just to confirm that indeed there is some sort of collaborative work between them, collusion between them and the 40s. And that's the impression that he created this morning. Because I'm coming when you were speaking. No, take notes, Kofi, take notes, Kofi, don't be in a hurry. We are yet going there. I mean, this thing you like doing it. You will get there. You understand? Because first of all, it was not the NPP that started this whole business of scandal. The teaser was given to us by the Fourth Estate. However, it was the NPP that immediately after the so-called expose ran a press conference on it and said nothing.
Oh, Solo, why are you trying to draw in the NPP? It's
practically, they said nothing. And interestingly, you know, at the press conference, the former Rose Minister was there, Asanso Boache. Do you know why he decided not to speak this time? And allowed Kennedy Osenyaku to what ranking? When you have a minister who was in charge of that sector, right by you are going to be the one speaking? Does it not prick your mind that you have an immediate minister of roads and highways who has the benefit of data to be in the right position to be speaking to the matters at the ministry? Don't forget, we are talking about a ministry. He left office not long ago. He was there, and his sons were at his back.
Whose sons?
Asanso Boache. Listening to the lies that were being perpetrated by Kennedy Osenyaku. In any case, as a country, if we believe that sourcing is not good, remember the Procurement Act was given to us by the very NPP. That it
was given to us by the Parliament.
The Parliament of Ghana under the NPP regime, 2003, remember? And they deliberately inserted the idea of sourcing. So if as a country, we believe that it is no more useful, we just have to take it out.
We amend?
We amend. But you cannot do without socialism because there will be certain skills that are only peculiar to certain entities. The scale of it is what we must be doing very well. But you see, the current minister gave certain information that I believe that it is true. I'm here to verify. That he says that between 2017 to 2024, the NPP almost gave all contracts as sole source contracts. Now, if you take it as almost near 100%, and he is doing 44%, then that is a monumental achievement by all standards.
Well, the NPP's position is that you said it's not good. So,
no, I'm coming.
Even as if we give it above a certain percentage that you are giving it, we should go by your words.
No, but the point is that if I took over a sector that was giving that contract as sole sourcing in 100% position, and I reduced it to 44, then that is a good start. Or you are not getting the point. You took over 100%, you have reduced it to 44. So what we have to urge him on is that going forward, it must continuously go down.
44 down.
Down to the barest minimum. But they must not be the ones to be preaching to us about why there is no need for anybody to undertake sole sourcing when you have been doing sole sourcing all your life. Look at somebody like, we are talking about Rose and his contracts. We were in this country when we started year of vote 2017, year of vote 2018, year of vote 2019, year of vote 2020.
The COVID year. Yeah.
The very roads that we are discussing today were supposed to have been finished the last 4 years. People took our monies and decided not to work on the roads.
That's a blanket.
No, that is the truth. Remember the $750 million exim guarantee loan that we took to deal with the Ofanko road. They stole the money. We were talking about stealing.
What do you mean by stole?
But the finance minister recently, Atoforce, told us that money, they cannot trace what they used the money for.
So maybe it was applied somewhere.
It never applied to anything. It is still in their pocket. They must be doing thorough investigation. I have said time with that number that Beatrice and her people will go down with these people if they decide to cover up for them. Because they have stolen from us.
No, you...
last year, didn't the president said they should conduct a forensic audit into the 30th All Africa Games? And that the report will be ready by the middle of December 2025. Have you gotten it? Look, one to me who is facing prosecution today. And did I hear Kofi Tonto talking about scammers and then sealers and so on and so on? One to me that was given a 20-kilometer road, cocoa road, to be constructed, to be bringing cocoa into the cities or the port. He took the money and never did the road.
One to me.
$45-something million.
Cocoa road?
Cocoa road. Did he construct it? What have we been told here? Look, to be able to further discuss, and he brought an issue. Fortunately, I'm also in the space. I did land economy for Christ's sake, and I work closely with road contractors. I've done project management before. This fixation of, oh, 9 kilometers, and you just quickly divide it by.
It's a 1.2 million for feeder road.
Who taught Kofi?
2 point something.
Who taught Kofi Tonto that?
You mean
and it's not him alone. A lot of NPP people on their wall, then they will write the kilometers. Even Brimer, the media foundation, he was also dabbling in that. I say, hey,
it's not good.
If you don't understand something, just go into the sector, find engineers. At least you have the benefit of the Ghana highways, or even people who have done engineering, road construction, civil engineers, or quantity surveyors. They will be able to give you as a why certain kilometers have to have higher values than the others. You spoke of the scope of work. If the places
base, the sub base.
Yeah, you know it. You was talking about that. In spite of that, and I don't know you to be a dumb, I know you to be a serious-minded person. So I don't expect you to be going the way and manner some people on the altar of politics will be doing to jeopardize their future integrity. I don't expect you to be doing that.
Well, he said that the contract he has on his phone.
The contract does not specify the scope of work. Does he know the drain, the bridges that will be on the road? Does he know the thickness of the does he know all the obstacles that will be has to be overcome? You don't know the scope, and then you are talking just like that. No, anyway, he's a social scientist. We are talking about engineering here, and the very, very, very best people to be dealing with issues of engineering must be the engineers. Now, I am saying that if there is any one minister who has impressed me in this administration, is Governor Kwame Abuja. You know what?
Kwame Abuja.
He has impressed me. So his consistency has been phenomenal. I followed him closely when he was in opposition as a ranking member, and I've continued to follow him because always I want to know whether people are consistent with their position. This whole big push project, when the president was cutting the saw that, is it Afienya or so? I don't know whether it was Afienya or Afienya Road.
As a start.
He made certain he gave certain reasons why they would settle on a particular contractor. If you remember.
Caveat.
Then he was doing what we call restricted tendering. He was giving an indication that the big push was going to be undertaken by restricted tendering. First of all, he said they needed contractors that could build the roads with the highest quality, with speed, and also Ghanaians. When somebody gives you these criteria, what he has done is that the contract will be awarded based on restriction.
So is that when he said no wheelbarrow road?
But why must we get a lot of the guys over here are wheelbarrow contractors? They go and take the roads. All that they do is that they don't do anything, and they go and claim money. Now, what the big push? Which contractors have they been given? Is it not Ghanaians?
You're sure?
I am always for contract being given to Ghanaians, no matter what. Look, me, when I go for a tender in this country and I go with a foreigner and you mistakenly give it to a foreigner, for the rest of our life you wear one pant. But then I realized I will take you on because I am a Ghanaian, because that foreigner is not better off than I do. So why must you give the contract to the foreigner? They have given it to Ghanaians, which is a good thing. Then the second thing that we must praise Abuja on was that he said they use their internal staffs to beat the contract values down. This I am going to do further verification. If it is true, then Abuja has done something monumental. That they use their internal engineers to do the design for reducing the cost of the contract. I have to castigate him. No way. It cannot happen. And I didn't hear the minority, and at least as of now, the minority NPP has not even come out to say that what Abuja said in that regard was a lie.
Conclude for me.
So, in conclusion, I would say that the ministry, the fourth estate, yes, they have the right to do what they did, but in doing so, they must always present the right position. The minister has said that, contrary to their claim that 76% of the road contracts were awarded through sole sourcing, it is rather 44%. It's for them to reconcile with the ministry and then look at the forward, but who is lying? Is it that they lied or the minister lied? I believe that the minister has provided all the necessary data to back his claim. Again, we have not been told that as a result of the sole sourcing, prices has been inflated. The contract values have been inflated. To that extent, if indeed by sole sourcing they were able to reduce the pricing, then why would anybody have an issue? Again, is it the case that the contractors that have been selected would aid in fast-tracking these projects? I've been using Accra Cape Coast Road, and I've been seeing the sort of thing that is going on there. You understand? And I believe that we must encourage this minister. He has been transparent, and he needs to be commended in that regard.
Beatrice, so how do we make sure that we are on the same trajectory, where the objective you are explaining is that even though you mentioned with specific regard to specific contract issued under the previous government, you're going to stay in tow and in line to make sure that the right, dimensions and remits are respected?
I think you must look at the composure of a government to determine government intent. The NDC government, proudly so, for 1 year, 3 months, does not have any scandal or any wrongdoing impugned on any appointee howsoever. And that is a mark of leadership. In this discussion, I've heard Kofi Tonto rant. He makes me sometimes, he reminds me of when I was in opposition. I've heard him rant in the most emotional way without supporting it with fact.
No, you say they're clutching at straws for scandals.
And where he sought to support it with fact, he completely missed the point. I think we've done the work Kofi Tonto is doing before. It can be done with mathematical precision. And I encourage him to take his time. See, he makes an assertion that the cost of feeder road in their time was $500,000. And he sought to say he has the document. Kofi Tonto, sometimes you need to drink water and take your time.
So he has a contract.
His Minister of Roads, Asenso Boateng, and that is the reason why he didn't speak, that's a low reference, awarded a road contract in his constituency, Bantama. I have the document here.
You have a document?
Yes, I have the document here with me.
Let's go slow on the name of the contract.
And for the 10.5 kilometer of roads he awarded, the total cost of the road was 164,000. Divide that and tell me whether that's
164 million.
164 million. Divide that.
Bantama.
Yes, divide that and tell me if it's 500,000. Your regional chairman, Chairman Wuntumi, who is seeking to be your national chairman, and one of Baomia's advisors, was awarded Cocoa Road, or he's not an advisor to Baomia.
Please
now,
make your
they
point.
can't claim
Chairman
Wuntumi. Baomia's advisor was, and one of Baomia's close advisors and confidants, was awarded Cocoa Road for $45 million for a 20 kilometer. He should do the math.
Cocoa Road?
Yes. For $45 million and it was 20 kilometers. He should do the math and tell me if that is. We have been doing this work. It is too simplistic if you take the approach. It ought to be backed by research. If you want to take a government on, merely combining words and using flowery language would not put pressure on government. You need to come with facts. And then when you say what? The NDC is a very hypocritical party, and his basis is that first, we said that the Russia-Ukraine did not have an effect in the world. And that now we are saying that the Israel-Iran war has an effect. Maybe you have forgotten. From 1957 to 2016, nobody did politics with external shocks and external factors. So check your history. I know there are historians in this party. Political parties will come on TV and debate. Nobody reference external source. It was your Baumia who said because of his PhD in economics, he had discovered a new economic theory that external factors did not have effects on local and reference Cote d'Ivoire. Have you forgotten his famous video? In his famous lectures, he introduced that discourse. What we were doing was subjecting you to our own test and asking what changed. So don't come and call us hypocrites. The NDC is focused. He has used a number of words, scammers and all that. We in the NDC, you know what we think? We think that when we have access to people's power, we should not censor how they describe us, even if it's unfounded. So I will not attack him, or I will not say that. He can use every word. But as we sit here, there is no government appointee that you, by any stretch of inference, can say that this person has engaged in acts of corruption. I can sit here and point to you that your finance minister cannot even sit in his own country and enjoy fufu.
Which finance minister?
Ken Ofori-Atta.
Okay, the former finance minister.
The former finance minister cannot even sit in his own country and enjoy fufu. Why? He should be telling us why. That a man who lived his wife and wore all his wife's kaftans in Ghana, all of a sudden does not think that it is appropriate to wear white kaftans. I think that the role of the opposition, and rightly so, is to question government. But that will have to be done within the fact. What assurance I can give to the people of Ghana is that the NDC takes a different approach to governance, that we welcome dissenting opinion, that we hear people when we talk and we say that this is a feedback to us in government, that we will not sitting on the throne of power be so submerged in power that we have forgotten that people have plight. It is in the spirit of that the NDC says that in 24 months, communities must have access to roads. It is in the spirit of that the NDC says that it is important to stabilize the macroeconomic indicators for all citizens to benefit. And so, when civil society raise issues, when other people question government intention, we will have the time to explain. But let not those who in the past told us that there was absolutely nothing wrong when we were even questioning, when we said that, hey, you guys should pause and perhaps even give us an explanation. We used to come to this studio. Government communicators will not even allow you to make your point. Today, Kofi Tonto is sitting here quiet and allowing me to speak. Government communicators will not even allow. You dare not even question government communicators.
I don't understand.
They were swallowed in arrogance and pride. They will hear nothing but for themselves. Their notes were prolonged to the extent that they could not see the plight of people. When we complain about food, they will go and import food and bring it to the Ministry of Agri that we should come and buy. When you complain about National Cathedral, they will tell you the president wants to serve God. When you complain about contracts being given to presidents, families, and cronies, they will tell you that why are they not qualified. The NDC takes a different approach. While in government, we do not seek perfection. We will make mistakes. As we had time to do reorganization as a party, you know, they were using the bottom-up approach. So they haven't had time to do reorganization and go to the base and the communities. The roads minister, as we speak, is one of the ministers with the highest ranking. Why? Everywhere there is road construction. Where I used to stay, Community 25.
Community 25?
Community 25.
You evaded the traffic since you came to government?
The traffic is still there. But I'm saying that you can see that work is progressing. You just came to do touches and left the road. The government of Ghana is working. The government of Ghana is committed to listening to the citizens. But let's not people throw dust in your eyes. Where the government is, we will admit. Roland, let me conclude. You know it's been long since I came.
This is your third time.
You cannot conclude because of your.
This is your third time saying you have to conclude. Please.
Solo will give me 2 minutes. No, so the government of Ghana.
We have a medical.
So I'm saying that as an opposition, they ought to be responsible. This morning, my expectation of an opposition party, as we did in the past, was that when you were coming to the studio, you will bring us that this contract is related to this person and that this contract would have costed this and it's costing this. Then we can be having a discussion. If the basis is that because the NDC in the past criticized, then I think the government hasn't done so bad. If the only basis of the NPP is that, no, we do not allege corruption. We do not say that you have done something wrong. We do not say that you have breached any law. In fact, we are not imputing any motive. Our only basis is that because you said this in the past, then you shouldn't be doing that. Then I think that Ghanaians, you are in safe hands.
You have actually impugned corruption. And I gave you an example, which he sought to clarify. She sought to clarify because now she's a mathematician and a precision master. But when she was trying to compare my analysis to what Asenso Boache supposedly did, she made a grave error.
You mean the contract in Bansam?
Yes. Because you see, Ghana, we have different types of roads. We have inner city roads,
That's an urban road.
Yes, we have city roads, we have feeder roads, we have highways, and we have trunk roads. My analysis was based on feeder roads. You don't compare urban roads to feeder roads. So that is the first error you made. You don't compare urban roads to feeder roads, because by its name alone and its position or location alone, even the quality of build is different.
So that's what I was averting your mind to.
No.
That
Pay attention to the point.
That each road and the specific bill of quantity and the
Pay attention to the point I made. My initial submission was emphasized on feeder roads. I was not talking about all roads.
So how much was urban roads?
Please.
So feeder roads, they have culverts, they have bridges,
I understand
and all those
all
things
of that.
increase, yeah.
I understand all of that. And that is why I referenced you. That you cannot tell me that during our times we didn't do culverts. We didn't have topography issues or geological issues.
Very well.
Nobody can sit here and tell me that only during Mohammed's time that the scope of work mattered. The scope of work has always mattered at every material time. And all the roads we did, the feeder roads we did, came with scope. Some even included building extra facilities outside. Some even include ancillary works. So I am conversant with roads, the scope and the nature of the roads. I used feeder roads. So you don't compare urban, because let me give you a typical example. Feeder roads, they're built by nature, by its nature and location alone. The quality is different from urban roads. Urban roads will be asphalt surfacing. Feeder roads will be bitumen surfacing. Something like, because
new road experts. So what is wrong with these current roads?
Please.
That you must
I have not said anything.
You must answer.
Please pay attention. I have not said there is anything wrong with the road.
Thank you.
I am telling you that we are not talking about the quality of the road.
Well, feeder roads until recently, they didn't put in the asphalting. It's only recently they started doing the overlays.
So the point that I'm making to you is that we have feeder roads, and by name of feeder roads, there is a description of the type of work that goes in. So don't compare city roads to feeder roads. That's the point I'm making to you. It's a wrong comparison.
But Cocoa roads mostly are feeder roads.
But I'm saying she cited Bantama. She cited Bantama. Bantama is different. I'm saying that don't do that comparison.
Do you have the scope of the current road that you say that there is something wrong? Because if you are a road expert, I want to learn. I'm not a road expert. The last time I checked, I'm a lawyer by profession. He is a road expert.
I'm not a road expert. I'm not a road expert. You sat here and discussed all issues. Are you expert on all of those issues? Are you a procurement expert? When you were saying, Beatrice, when you were saying NPP was running a procurement economy, were you a procurement expert?
That's what you were doing.
Were you a procurement expert?
Look,
you said that in your first year, you are going to amend the procurement.
So that is it. Enti uti enkomona na chisesebi enkomona mu de papa esanse MPP ni no Kofi Tonto de biaya na omo pese omo edi ntoro. Badika ka chise Kofi Tonto ohaha nani oye enkofo na omo di toro kra na they are confident, they are courageous. I mean their courage, the courage, you know, they are brave. Kofi Tonto sa nkofo ni bio oye nkofo na omo di ntoro kra na one tenase monitor unhu because entoro no aya na no hye papa mo MPP for dey na manyi no kuruma enso munam akufado edi contract man ba se wonko ezi t-shirt na bibisa ase bibisa contractor akufado de man ma ewo kurum ha no even na busiafo asanti bedi etuo ye no na mo ase biebu se benya ado nyame mfasa ma o ena ase oyare aso onyare ono kwa dwuma odi ye contractor gi ye edi man yire ewo airport eno nam so ema hopsin ye obi adoye kra no na dwuma ewo airport terminal 3 ebo no. That is why I'm who hopes TV3 and cannot person called Boko Jopuku and Kojopuku bonus from NPP communicator. Because the near break, ye can reality now also ordinary den. More NPP for why a year so sourcing contract a chain more 8 years a mubedi and conform mudi del or a baymunin nan air moncrofo attaching related to Kufado Amakwata related to Kufado a lot of encofo Kufado crofo be brave and audio muyeding a run a bam or yeding or singy sociomo so sourcing or so sociomo through that a year na bam but the name NDC Nyanibio and Common Crab Abontin in Yakle. I feel no more dive into it. I feel no more him. But see how the wa omoni si abre the chromophobia who say obi ye start something a be an need actually because himself here baby ano chromophobia any bre one in yama home person will be baby an dear but no obi dear kofa chromophobia and person will be baby an yama but obi dear kofa. In this case, NPP for Etna Kuruma award contract at the moment for. Why let that say NPP for ABM say security mokan say recruitment and senior course. Why let attain that Kuruma be course in the last 8 years I travel from 2017 to 2025. Why let it say maybe so why NT is uncommon ebu Kuruma. Nobody. Nobody ani say omo the slaughter mama ministers omo the bia mama MCs regional ministers and one obo se no mun na mase na omo akoton omo aton bi 20,000 30,000 to 10,000 no mo to ton sa the man crofo no mo afofo mo no mo agi sikanedi. But instead of say omo making one say there's security issues no mo come no to mo because they have seen say omo ni any point bia omo betimi agina so abuild it. The only thing they have to do is to rubbish that what a young common. And to make catch them, I'm NPP for that damo. John Mahama, the one in Asia Bedia, our board, our and draw all Casa Ewo, EU right, UN right, or Casa or Honum, the kind of board, any the kind of word statement, any speech Papani Yusu on it tells you say he is an African leader. He is the true what African leader. When Akufado Kohonum, a cotonya ma brofono, Akufado Kohonum for boy ma brofono, you beside say way LGBT kono, a beba for Ghana na. Akufado catch the abrofon say it is born to happen. Any day a beba so. Anti-LGBT plus no I the koto parliament we a parliament yo moduma mo de koto asante be dia to not honum bi on no the secretary general the ma nanado the president then time honum bi na ye pia sa document ni de koto nanado no front desk sen kon sign na meye mbra obi e be chu se wo ye eye sa ne manema ni bibia no you be jailed bisa say you Akufado otimi sane ya na bisa so timi ni sakan. But you got John Mahama by Onyansani, but you see the kind of insemo kana one day, or best signing, and I know very well because ISR was almost under parliament, no muye mujuma, na almost sign ediba reappear the president's office. Now otinasi eden, ordinary pen say no signing. Enti sa niema niema e course we Akufado abamu na enye no. You can attest to the fact that any be na ekoso e wo Mahama mamumu. The ministers, the humility of war, na appointees and conform dinechi how they have humbled themselves to earth level. To earth. And in one people ni no TV so na store na Kofi Tonto we sanye arroganta. Me dwen ho bisa me say tin Kofi we. Do they think that Ghana ni omodiana? Because it is like say Ghana no your modiana say NDC for asan beji nti omo besan jomade I so be no be kunwaju bibi and I say kumbia so abeji biara obeji. That is how NPP people they behave on TV, radio, social media, anywhere they communicate. That behavior they must stop it because it is not behavior that will improve their political party. Chirawaju comment section him. Ankopon shiraw. On kan papa. Let's also be like this video now share na fufuro. Enye biahwe. Ankopon shiraw. Bye bye.